I don't think you should have told him. I want to get out of here.
Hi everyone, it's Ruby G.
And I'm Joff.
Welcome to Truth and Neurons. Today we're going to be focusing on Madison Mogen, Maddie, one of the 4 victims in the University Idaho murders. Madison May Mogen was a 21-year-old marketing major at the University of Idaho, standing 5'4" with blonde or strawberry blonde hair and green eyes. The police records show her as a resident of 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, where she lived with her closest friends. Understanding Madison's personality, relationships, and daily routines is crucial to understanding both her vulnerabilities and the dynamics that led to her tragic death.
The circulating theory about a video involving statements about Adam and drug disposal requires careful analysis. If individuals were involved in drug-related activities that resulted in financial losses for a criminal organisation, that creates genuine motive for retaliation. However, the psychological profile of drug-related violence typically involves intimidation, financial recovery, or punishment that serves as deterrent messaging to others. The nature of these attacks, private, contained, without clear messaging, doesn't necessarily align with typical drug debt psychology, and that usually involves public examples or recovery-focused violence. The theory that victims were planning to leave and change their lives could align with either escape from dangerous situations or normal college transition planning. Without concrete evidence, we can't determine whether any departure plans were motivated by fear or simply normal life progression. The suggestion of organisational involvement, whether that's fraternal, religious, hate group related, introduces complex group psychology dynamics. Organised group violence typically exhibits different psychological patterns than individual criminal behaviour, including role distribution, symbolic messaging, and hierarchical planning. However, we have to be extremely cautious accepting theories that involve religious institutions or organisations without substantial evidence. The tendency to seek patterns and assign blame to groups during traumatic community events can lead to unfounded accusations that damage innocent institutions and individuals, but in many cases has also found them to be complicit and involved.
Steve Gonsalves has publicly stated that Maddie and Kaylee's closeness was consistent with their childhood friendship, noting that they slept in the same bed as children. The speculation about romantic relationships between the victims appears to stem from their close bond and the fact that they were found together. Intense female friendships, particularly those dating to childhood, often involve physical comfort behaviours that continue into adulthood without romantic implications. The assumption that adult women sharing sleeping space indicates romantic involvement reflects cultural biases rather than psychological evidence. However, if we examine this theory through a psychological lens, targeting individuals based on their perceived sexual orientation would indicate hate crime psychology, a specific type of criminal motivation that involves dehumanization of victims based on identity characteristics.
I don't want to get started on the horrible things that were said about individuals in the LGBTQ community. They were very hateful. Mm-hmm. They were absolutely vile, evil, and they liked the idea of fantasizing about murdering people like that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they would love a world that didn't have any gay people in it.
The involvement of Joshua Hurwitz, who previously prosecuted Aryan Nights cases, and the reported interest that came from political figures like Donald Trump, suggests that this case may have dimensions beyond a simple college town murder. From this perspective, when high-level prosecutional and political attention focuses on cases involving white supremacist organisations, it often indicates either genuine organised crime connections or political motivations that extend beyond local criminal justice. The Aryan Nights theory while speculative, gains psychological credibility when considered along documented drug activity in the house.
The police interviews revealed deeply concerning information about stalking behaviour that Maddie and her friends had experienced. One witness reported that Kaylee had mentioned someone following her out of a building to her car at Winco. Additionally, there was an incident where all the roommates at 1122 King Road went out, and when they returned, the back door was open after being previously locked. These incidents potentially suggest escalating surveillance and boundary violations that are hallmarks of predatory stalking behaviour. The psychology of stalkers often involves testing security measures, learning routines, and gradually increasing their boldness in approaching targets. Most disturbingly, one witness reported that Kaylee had mentioned seeing someone hiding behind a garbage dumpster about a month prior to the murders, and that Kaylee felt someone had been watching her. The behaviour pattern is consistent with the psychological profile of predators who engage in extended surveillance before acting. A particularly chilling detail comes from a witness who FaceTimed with Maddie at 12:40 a.m. Moscow time while she was at the corner club. The conversation apparently lasted only about 40 seconds, suggesting normal friend communication. However, it demonstrates that Maddie's location activities were being shared through normal social communication, potentially providing information to anyone monitoring her digital communications. Maddie was a marketing major who had been working on group projects with classmates. One particularly revealing police interview describes a male classmate who worked with her in the basement of the Albertsons building on campus, describing their interactions as limited to class-related communications through group messaging. Had only spoken with Maddie 4 or 5 times throughout the school year, primarily through text messaging about group projects.
Isn't going to be some kind of connection that I would think that would explain this. Like, my girl's bullying him, or what kind of behavior could explain somebody being this brutal to another human being?
You fucking asshole! You fucking liar! You fucking manipulator!
Don't wear that outfit again.
Maddie worked alongside Zana at the Mad Greek restaurant, creating a connection between two of the victims through their shared workplace. The police interviews reveal that multiple witnesses knew both Maddie and her close friend circle. Maddie's connection to Zana through work created a social network that extended beyond just her residential situation, potentially expanding her visibility to people who might have developed fixations on her.
Is there any evidence that Koberger was following the social media of any of the victims?
So, trust us, we wanted that to be the case. We've looked for a link, and we have not found one. Not one.
Yeah, through the entire investigation, I think that's something that we need, that you want, is to help to understand this and say, well, what's the connection? What was the link? And so we had every resource possible, and we worked that tirelessly, both from everything from his side, but all the victims and all the members of the house from their side. So we have never, to this date, found a single connection between him and any of the 4 victims or the 2 surviving roommates.
Boosters, baby. You so foolish.
That's all for today's episode of Truth and Neurons. If you found this analysis helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the ethics of media commentary in high-profile cases. Until next time, keep thinking critically and questioning everything. Cheers.